Morning team, very informal. This is the start of, I suppose, I don't know how long it's going to go. It might just be today. It might be for a couple of weeks. I imagine it'll be for a couple of weeks. A daily program where we're going to just very quickly go through some of the main news stories. And it's also going to be very much a two-way conversation. I want you to be able to provide your perspectives, disagree, criticise, make your comments about the news, keep it civil amongst each other. I don't want people fighting on here. It's not the way we do things. Tackle the topic, but not the people. So we'll be doing this each day at 8 o'clock. So, I mean, I know I used to do the program at 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings, so we're doing it at 8 o'clock today. There won't be a 9 o'clock program. Now, with Grumpy Old Men tomorrow, Steve's going to come in at 8 o'clock and we'll sit here together and we'll do just some news, and also we'll spend some time just addressing any questions you would like, and we'll spend a bit of time with our usual madness. So Grumpy Old Men stroke quick news update will be on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thai time. So wherever you are in the world, what we're trying to do is just very quickly bring you up to date with some of the main stories. Now, the two main stories in Thailand, which are sort of colouring everything else really, including any coverage of the Southeast Asian Games. I can't believe they're sort of firing bombs at the border and then throwing petanque balls in some stadium somewhere. It's just sort of crazy, but there you go. So we're talking basically today just an update about the situation on the Thai-Cambodian border. There has been an important telephone conversation, or a couple of conversations overnight. We'll go through those. They seem to be filling up the news space this morning. And also just the latest on the forthcoming election that was announced yesterday. So Thailand is now in election mode. So we'll find politicians being very careful what they're saying, because it will obviously affect the election. So great to have you all with us, and we'll just go through all your conversations a little bit later. But I thought I'd start by going through some of the news. Just to remind those people tuning in now that this is going to be a daily 8 a.m. live program. If you're watching later, well, you can join in at 8 a.m. and be part of the conversation. And it's still very much of a conversation. We want you to be involved. We want, be great if we could actually have some sort of talkback system where I could say, caller number 2, hi. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't do lost dogs. I've been through all that before in my radio career about 1,000,000 years ago. But to do that here, technically I just need some help. And it's only me, a Daisy and the 3 cats, and number 1 walking around. Let's go through some of this news. And we start with this one. A few takes from some of the Facebook pages, which are the news. The Nation Thailand, and it talks about a conversation with a telephone conversation with the US President Donald Trump. And the Thai Prime Minister Anutin said he explained Thailand's actions in the recent Thai-Cambodian border dispute to the US President Donald Trump. And the President also spoke to the Cambodian leader. Now, I read some coverage of that version of the telephone conversation this morning on some Cambodian media. It was just the most ridiculous lot of media diatribe I've ever read in my life. I'm not even going to give it the disservice of reading it to you. Whatever or however the Cambodians see fit to conduct their media policy at this time, the stuff that's coming out of all the Cambodian press, heavily controlled by some sort of centralised media editorial, sort of government media control. It's just a travesty. So just reading something as a report about an innocuous telephone call. It was just rubbish, and I wouldn't bother you by reading the coverage about. I mean, you can imagine how the conversation went, and I think your imagination is going to be much more accurate than that which was written by the Cambodian media on the matter. Back to this coverage. Just press the right button there, Tim. Speaking to reporters on Friday following the phone call with the president around 9:20 last night, he said Trump expressed hope that the situation would return to peace in line with the US brokered joint declaration previously signed between the two ASEAN nations in Malaysia. Now, I keep on reading these terms that US brokered. Well, it wasn't. It was brokered mainly through the ASEAN chair, Malaysia. And the document signed last month when the US president was in Malaysia was really just a reiteration of the original ceasefire. It wasn't a peace agreement at all. As far as it being US brokered, I think there was some discussions with the US president in earlier telephone calls, but it wasn't necessarily brokered through the United States. It really has been an ASEAN effort, and we should salute the people who do all the hard work in ASEAN for pulling that original ceasefire and peace agreement together. Let's go to some more of this. And Anaton said that in case of violations resulting in loss of life or property on the Thai side, Thailand has the necessity to retaliate in order to defend our sovereignty, our territory, the property of the Thai people, and ultimately the lives of our citizens. This is why we needed to explain this clearly to the president. And he noted that Trump told him that Thailand could reach out to the US side at any time, and assured that the United States would not use trade tariffs as leverage in this situation. So I think, we do need to keep to the situation at hand. We don't want the Thai-Cambodian border conflict getting confused with various trade and tariff negotiations between Thailand and the US, or Cambodia and the US at the moment. So good to keep those two issues separate. I was going to say another thing. 8 o'clock in the morning, my brain's hardly turned on. Let's keep on going with some of this coverage. Also from Nation Thailand, and I'll get to that one in a moment. Some more reporting from Nation Thailand. Thailand's Second Army says Cambodian forces launched intensive attacks across 7 sectors this is yesterday, using BM-21 rockets, noting that BM-21 rockets are originally from Russia, pretty old artillery at this stage. Thai troops responded with bomb-dropping drones and supporting fire while maintaining firm controls of key positions. Pretty much anything that Cambodia is doing at the moment in regards to firing rockets, Thailand is responding in kind times 20. You could say, if you were using more loose conversational language, that Thailand's bombing the shit out of the Thai-Cambodian border positions at the moment. So, we'll get into a few more details about exactly where this has been happening over the last 24 hours. And from Cowside English on their Facebook page, the Thai Prime Minister intensified his nationalist messaging on Friday, boasting that he told the US President Donald Trump to pressure Cambodia to halt attacks before calling for a ceasefire. You can imagine the way the telephone conversations are going. You tell him that we're not going to stop until he stops. It'd be like the two kindergarten children in front of the teacher trying to explain themselves. You tell him, I'm not going to tell him myself. So it would just be so much easier if the Thai Prime Minister and the Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet were able to have some sort of summit to meet together with their foreign ministers and the heads of the military. Just lock them up in a room for 3 or 4 days, give them some sandwiches and a can of Fanta each, and just sort this out. They are, at the end of the day, the only people that can sort this out. And that message is quite clear. and I just don't know why there's not the political will. You could say that Thailand being in this current situation of conflict, it might be a good political move by Anutin to have this conflict and to lean on it and say, I'm the strong man, I'm the best person to lead you. Or he could actually go to the Thai people and say, hey, I took the big step and sat down with the Cambodian Prime Minister and we brought peace back to the border. I'm pretty sure that the Thai people would probably be more appreciative of that sort of move. Certainly if you're some of the hundreds of thousands of people displaced along the border, you'd be much happier with some sort of peaceful agreement. Let's go on with our coverage of some of these main news stories. Further on in that article, the Thai Prime Minister emphasised that the highest priority is protecting the lives of the people, and this is why he had to explain to President Trump that Thailand was not the one who initiated attacks or invaded Cambodia first in relation to this latest round of artillery fire that's been going for 4 or 5 days now. The Cambodians also maintain that Thailand fired first. So exactly who fired first, it's almost impossible to know and probably irrelevant as to where we are at this stage. President Trump said he understood and even told Anutin, it's like going out with that first date and saying, you can call me anytime, but not give your telephone number. So Anutin, press the button, Tim. Anutin replied that it wouldn't be necessary and that Thailand could handle the situation. The Thai foreign minister regularly communicates with the US already. This is some coverage from Chaos on English talking about exactly what was happening over the past 24 hours. And it says December the 12th, the Second Army Region has issued a summary of the situation. And here we are, we've got the areas of engagement, and principally around Chong Ama in Ubon Ratchathani province, and also Prayavahia, which has been much discussed and an area that's been much tackled. It's also the site of one of the very ancient temples along that border, which have been the subject of dispute. But as we've said, we don't really believe here at TNT that these ancient temples, these very old rocks, have got much to do with the discussion, although it can be a very emotional, it can look very strong in photos when you have a picture of this temple and the soldiers standing there on either side saying that we both believe this temple belongs to our countries. But the temples really have got very, very little. They just happen to be along part of that Thai-Cambodian border. It's about 700 kilometres long. It's been hotly contested for over a century. So various conflicts over the past 100 years have not been infrequent. The current ones, of course, are much more high profile. Let's go on with a bit more of this coverage. And Thai PBS World says that Thailand upholds KL peace declaration. Cambodia violates it, Anutin tells Trump. And just a few more things about that conversation that we could glean from this article. The Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul told the US President that Thailand has strictly adhered to the KL Joint Peace Declaration to restore peace along the border, but it was Cambodia that has violated the agreement. Again, I stress Cambodia state the opposite. And I always want to make that quite clear that we're not just trying to provide only Thai news. We're trying to provide a Cambodian perspective when we can. But as I said, what I read this morning about a similar telephone conversation between the Cambodian Prime Minister and President Trump, it's not worthy of wasting my time reading it to you. The coverage from the Cambodian side, heavily edited by the government there, is I'll only read it to you when I can sort of sift some sort of truth out of it. Further down there, presenting at the talk were also Thailand's foreign and commerce ministers, with the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio joining. And Anutin said he reassured Trump that Thailand's always complied with the declaration that was signed in the presence of the US President, and the Malaysian Prime Minister. That happened during the start of November. And Anutin saying Thailand's never stepped outside the agreed conditions. The discussion also touched on pending US tariff negotiations, and Anutin said Trump pledged to grant Thailand better tariff treatment than other countries. And asked if Trump said when the tariff reductions would take effect, Anutin said the matter would be handled by the Commerce Minister. Okay, let's go to some other matters that I pulled out of the news cycle. This one interested me. Time magazine has named the Architects of AI as its 2025 Person of the Year, arguing that 2025 was the year of AI's potential truly erupted into view. There's no returning to a world without it. And Time magazine framed the choice as recognition of those who have ushered in an era of thinking machines. Question to you guys and you ladies, to the ladies out there as well. Who would you have chosen as the Person of the Year? I think as far as political capital over the year, there's really only one person that's would be described as Person of the Year. As far as some sort of positive perspective, I'm not sure if AI is the most positive of those perspectives. Most of the reading about it has been saying it's going to steal our jobs and it's going to destroy the world. But that's the sort of way that people like to write to get people to read and click. From my perspective, my use of AI has been very positive and I've seen a lot of value in it. But my use is only sort of 0.1% of the entire scope of what AI can do and what it will be capable of in the future. But what do you think of Time magazine giving the Architects of AI the 2025 Person of the Year award? Interested to hear your thoughts. And another story that I was just about to read, and this of course is the other thing that's happening here in Thailand, is we now are in election mode. Let's see if we can find out a bit more about the new election, what the situation is with the Thai government and when that election is going to be. We go to the Bangkok Post. Caretaker government still has full authority. And echoing a declaration made earlier by the military, Anutin said the caretaker government, this is the second paragraph, said the caretaker government holds full powers with only a few exceptions. Should any action fall under those exceptions, the government must seek the Election Commission authorisation. So the lower house is dissolved and we're heading to an election. But the current government situation does act in a caretaker role during that time, during the election. Now, blissfully, a lot of the countries that use this Westminster style of government have short elections. So it's going to be a 4 or 5 week election. Then it's all done and dusted and we can get on with things. Of course, in the United States, I think the media in the United States love it because people are just transfixed, but it just goes on and drags on for like a whole year. And so 1 year out of every 4 years is wasted just talking about the upcoming election. But here in Thailand, it's all going to be over in the next 4 or 5 weeks. We are waiting for an official announcement of when the election's going to be. Let's see if we can find out. So down the bottom, Anutin says nothing's changed. So yes, the government continues. As he prepared to hold a telephone conversation with the US president, this is last night, about the conflict, Mr. Anutin said he hoped it would be resolved before the election. I think we all hope that, which is expected to take place on February the 8th. So there you go. That is a proposed election date. It is not the official election date, but don't be surprised if it is going to be in those first couple of weeks of, just trying to see, I'll just check with my calendar. I'm pretty sure that'll be a Saturday. February the 8th, no, it's a Sunday. Sort of an odd day for an election. I can't remember the convention on holding elections in Thailand. I thought they're usually held on Saturdays, but anyway, we'll find out soon enough about the election date. But the suggestion there that it's going to be February the 8th. And some political observers have speculated that prolonged fighting could result in the caretaker government remaining in office for an extended period. And Mr. Anutin battered this aside, saying the government cannot set the election date on its own. Under the Thai constitution, the Election Commission does set the date for the election, so we'll be eagerly awaiting those. Under the constitution, once the House is dissolved, an election has to be held between 45 and 60 days. So there's a window which is between 45 and 60 days after the dissolution of Parliament. The dissolution happened yesterday. Well, no, it actually happened the night before. Happened at 9 p.m. on Thursday, the 11th of December. A lot to think about at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we have to wait for the Election Commission. Just going through some of the main headlines that we're reading today, when these are the most popular, most clicked articles relating to Thailand today. Thailand upholds the KL peace declaration. Cambodia violates it, according to Anutin telling Trump. The BBC saying that Thailand and Cambodia agree to halt fighting. Southern Thailand braces for heavy rain as seas turn rough. We'll check that in just a moment. And Thai Examiner, which is an aggregator, not a news service. Siblings returned to Thailand after 50 years seeking to find the gentle man who watched them over them in 1975. Looks like it would be a good article to read. And other things on the top of the Google charts today for news. Anutin Charvitikul, it's talking about the parliamentary dissolution. The TAT, that's the Thailand Tourist Authority, and Royal Enfield joined forces to highlight Thailand's hidden treasures for global travellers. Royal Enfield, that is a motorcycle maker. My production assistant in the past, Jason, he used to love his I think it was Royal Enfield. I'd be in trouble if I got that wrong. Al Jazeera saying that Trump says Thailand, Cambodia agree to renew the ceasefire after deadly clashes. So we'll just have to wait over the next 24 hours to see if things are settled down and no more rocks thrown across the border. And we can only hope that that telephone conversation has prompted the two sides to put down their weapons. And down the bottom there, Thaiger reporting heavy rain alerts issued for 35 Thai provinces, including Bangkok. Thailand has 76 provinces plus Bangkok. Bangkok not technically a province, so 77 provinces if you like. So according to that report, half of Thailand is going to be consumed with rain. I doubted that when I read it. I was looking outside and thinking, no, we don't have any rain here today. So indeed, let's go to Venture Sky and check the rain situation as of now. And this is the situation. We're looking there at the broader Southeast Asia. No particular weather patterns are causing poor weather in this area of the world at the moment. So it just seems to be quite normal for equatorial or just north of the equator areas this time of the year. So there's Thailand in the middle, and if we look a bit further, right in the middle there, what we'd call central Thailand, part of it northeastern Thailand, there seems to be some rain there, but nothing particularly heavy. Around Bangkok, yes, there does appear to be some rain. This is as of now. I'll check later in the day in just a moment. Oh, hang on, we'll go back to 7 o'clock. Here we are. This is 7 o'clock this morning. So basically no rain in the northern half of Thailand. There's a bit affecting the Gulf of Thailand coast there, places like Koh Samui, Hua Hin, Suratani, and down to Nakhon Si Thammarat, and then even further down to places like Hat Yai and along the coastal regions down to the Malaysian border. Nothing really to see here on the Andaman coastal side, But if we do go, say, to 7 o'clock at night tonight, yes, then we do have a bit more rain in the central Thailand, but the rain in southern Thailand clearing up during the day. But we can see quite strong northeasterly winds swishing down there from through the South China Sea. That is very, very indicative of this time of the year when the northeastern monsoon kicks in. That usually starts around about the start of December. That's exactly when it started this year. So northeastern airflow, and I don't really see heavy rain for Thailand today, anywhere in Thailand. But of course, I could be wrong. Make sure you keep note of your local meteorological service. But from what I can see, it doesn't look like there's going to be any particularly heavy rain forecast around Thailand today. So that's sort of my roundup. Hopefully I get a little bit better at this and a bit smoother over the next few days. If I do it every day, I will hopefully get better, like the athletes in the Southeast Asian Games. I'm now going to go to your comments and spend the next 15-20 minutes going through every single one of your comments and give you the due respect for your time this morning. Just let me stop for a moment and have a sip of my coffee. It's one of the worst coffees I've ever had. What's in there? He's trying to poison me. God, it's grotesque. Sort of like started off as a cup of tea but developed into a cup of coffee. I've got to put that there in front of me. I can also jump to any articles we can do that. I can type it in. I had one of these iPad thing holders. You can see it's getting a bit dog-eared now. I've had it for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. But it doesn't work anymore, so the keyboard doesn't connect to the iPad. So I've got to do all the typing in the actual iPad these days. I've got to buy another one of these keyboard holders. Okay, question, comment. This is from Warren Williams. Hi, Warren. The election is not the problem insofar as the Constitutional Court is. It's the greatest roadblock for true democracy and respect towards the will of the people. Thank you, Warren, for that comment. It is true that the Constitutional Court, there you are, does hold a lot of power in Thailand, and it wields it. And it has got a bit of a conservative bent and has been quite happy to throw out more progressive but populist governments and popularly elected governments in the past, certainly of recent times. Now, having said that, there was an agreement between the People's Party in Thailand and the Phumjai Thai for Anderson to become the Prime Minister. They promised to do some constitutional reform. That didn't happen, and I think it's that dispute that brought about this early election, more so than the situation along the Thai-Cambodian border. But a fair comment, Warren. And you did exactly what I hope other people do. You wrote the word comment in front of your comment. It draws my attention. So if you've got a comment or a question, write that in capital letters at the start of your message. It makes it a lot easier for me to find my way through. Oh my God, I'm not going to get through this in 5 minutes. Let's keep on going. Hello to everybody. I won't mention you individually, but I do appreciate you dropping in and saying hello. Just your cover shot right now. Throwing questions. Morning, Tim. Don't mind the new format. Yeah, it is just during this time of high news cycle. There's a lot of news around. There are plenty of important things to be discussed. Of course, we are trying to keep on top of this Thai-Cambodian border situation. Now, it might just all settle down today and the negotiations will continue. So I won't be boring you with that news every day. We'll assume that that's the situation until something changes again. So I might only be doing this for 2 or 3 days. Of course, there will be plenty to talk about in regards to the election, but that's not necessarily everybody's taste. But we'll see how long we'll keep on doing it. We just want to keep you informed. And if you have any questions or any doubts about travelling to Thailand, I just want to discuss any of those to make sure people are properly informed with the proper information and not believing everything that they're reading on social media. Good evening from Vancouver in Canada. That's from Brett Border. Been to the beach and also a contributor in our live programs for a long time. Would be a little bit chilly in Vancouver, I'm thinking, this time of the year. Hello from Phuket, from Maxell William. Good morning. Ceasefire maybe. Fingers crossed, says Ian Fitton. Steve will be even more grumpy at 8 a.m. Steve gets up about 4 or 5 in the morning. He's had breakfast by then. So by the time he fronts up to grumpy old men, it's sort of the middle of the day. In his mind, he's always in fine form. Still throwing rocks at each other where I am, says Mark. Being from the UK, it's not very often I catch live, but I'm in Thailand until the new year. So welcome to you, Steve. I just arrived in Thailand today, booked my flight a month ago when everything was still peaceful. If people want to ask about any stories they've seen during the week, now there's been one playing itself out on social media. I don't know how these things, they just grab people's interest and attention and they take on a life of their own. But there was a lady who arrived in Thailand and she was stopped at immigration. I think it was her, I can't remember the specifics, but they said she didn't have enough money. Now, they can ask at the border for proof of income when you arrive in Thailand. It doesn't happen often, but if you are jumping through the border more than a couple of times a year, if you've been maxing out your visa exemptions, if you're showing indication of being a frequent entrant into Thailand, such that it looks like you're trying to live in Thailand rather than just visiting it, you're going to get more questions at the airport. And one of those questions can be, do you have 20,000 baht, proof of 20,000 baht in your account? Otherwise, we can deny entry. And that's exactly what happened to her. And she threw a bit of a hissy fit and, of course, went to social media saying, oh, that shouldn't have happened. I don't really want to get into that because it seemed quite cut and clear to me. But I think her attitude didn't help the way that I was reading it. Okay, Bill G. Hi, Bill. Question. If this is about casinos and scam centres, wouldn't Thailand be destroying these places, put an end to this fighting? They've been bombing the casinos. I'm not sure if I've been reporting that correctly, but I think there have been 3 attacks on border casinos over the past 4 or 5 days. Now, the Thai government's been saying they've been storing artillery, storing drones in these facilities, and that's why they attacked them. But I'm pretty sure I know why those casinos have been attacked. Casinos wouldn't be usually the place that should be storing artillery. But thank you for that, Bill. As for Cambodia, they're just lobbing missiles for a terror effect. Well, look, it's a little bit silly for Cambodia to try and conduct some sort of... don't say that, Tim, that's rude. If they want to have a shootout, Thailand's just going to win that every single time. There's no benefit in Cambodia taking on Thailand militarily. They're not going to win. Now, it could get all very nasty and become sort of a guerrilla war, and then you sort of just get bogged down for months. But at the moment, no. If we want to compare the Thai and Cambodian military, Thailand has got a huge advantage in that situation. I don't think Cambodia is wanting to head down that track. It will only remain along this border region. It's not going to go further than that. I'm fairly confident in making that prediction. Thanks, Bill. Jade, good morning, Tim, from Ho Chi Minh. Crossing my fingers for a DTV, that's a Destination Thailand visa. Approval next week so I can come home. That's interesting that you call Thailand home. It's exactly what I call Thailand these days when my friends and family in Australia say, "Oh, when are you coming home?" I say, well, I am home. I've got a trip next July back to Australia. I'm going to a conference that I used to work on for about 14 years. The person that I worked with to help run those conferences is doing their last conference for the AUSCRS, the Australasian Cataract and Refractive Association or something like that. It's about 300 or 400 eye doctors get together every year. Very interesting, such that it gave me a very good perspective on eye surgery, which I've had done about 5 years ago now. Very, very successful, such that I can read all this without wearing glasses. But so I am going to that final conference up in the Sunshine Coast, which is north of Brisbane in Australia. I'm going next July with number one. And that should be, a fun 3 or 4 days. Then I'll head down to Sydney and Melbourne. So my first trip back to Australia in a long time. But these days I do call Thailand home, even though I'm very happy to retain and very proud to retain my Australian passport. Make the Thai-Cambodia border great again, says G. Rig. Good morning, Tim from the UK, says Farang Lau. Sounds like you need a few more coffees. Yes, not that one. That was awful. Don't know what was put in there. Keeping the conflict local. Yeah, this conflict is not going to go beyond these border areas. There's no reason for it to do so. And it's highly unlikely that Cambodia have got the firepower to reach really much beyond 50 kilometres from the border. Has been reports of other sort of weaponry that might come into the situation, but if it does, we will almost automatically know that other countries have become involved. That would certainly ramp up the situation from where it is. I very much doubt whether that's going to happen. Hello from Mexico, watching from dinner in a Mexican restaurant. Grab some quesadilla for me. I'll be there in, about half an hour. You look so multicultural, indigenous. That's from Cyber Flatulence. Yes, I think it does have a bit of an Aboriginal flavour. The Australian Aborigines, the native people of Australia. If it is, I wear it proudly. But I don't actually think that is the idea of the design, even though it does have a strong influence as I look at it. Comment from Brett Border. Response advice to your comment regarding bringing live conversations to your live stream. I'm no expert, but Pete from Irish Times can interview viewers on his live stream on the fly. Yes, I realise even with this software I can bring in a live conversation and do it live. But I want to talk to you. There's plenty of experts we could talk to, and that would change the whole perspective of the program. Happy to go down that track if it happens. I have sent many emails to people saying, hey, I'd like to interview you, but they never get back to me. So, I don't think that's going to happen. But I'd like to bring you into the conversation. So I was thinking I could open a Zoom account and you could all log in and you'd all be in a queue and I could click on and bring you up live. I don't know. I'll think about it. But the problem is just once you start doing that, you're pressing buttons and looking at all the technology around you and all the wires, and you've got less time to actually engage the brain and talk to people sensibly that are online. So we'll do it like this for now until I get some sort of inspiration or somebody puts their hand up and says they'll be the production manager and come to Panga each day. Is Tim part Aboriginal? No, but if I was, I'd wear a shirt like this proudly. Portugal is looking good, says Frank Cherry, out of nowhere. Very cool shirt. Frank Farms in Portugal. Okay, this is the part of the discussion where I'm not aware of what people are talking about. Okay, Richard Woolley says a lot of people who live on or near to a border quite often will be supportive of one side or the other, not always clear-cut as some people would have you believe. I fully understand that the people along the border would have friends just over the other side of the border. They may be conducting commerce with them daily. They may be chatting to them daily. They may meet at a local market. Along that 700 kilometres of border, there are plenty of areas where you can just sort of walk through the trees and you're on the other side of the border. There's no official border crossing. Yes, there are 4 or 5 key border crossings where you get stamps and things like that, but a lot of the border is not guarded. There's no fence, and people just wandering across, swapping a durian for a banana. So I'm sure a lot of people have got strong connections with people on either side of the border, and they don't see that border as a demarcation between. In fact, they'd probably be speaking in much the same lingo, as sort of a Cambodian-Thai hybrid language. I understand, and thank you very much for that comment. As Colbert quipped about the Time photo rooting for the wind, I don't know what you're saying, but thank you very much. We've got people talking about Neil deGrasse. Okay. Some AI stories better than the real. Yes. Hello, Tim, here from Adelaide. This is Colin. If you're not to read anything of what the Cambodian media said because you think it's ridiculous, what they reported, how about directing us to the sources? Okay. And look, I can go right now. I don't want to be seen to be avoiding the Cambodian news. I just read a couple of articles this morning that were clearly written by some sort of editor without very good English skills from the Cambodian government. They were not written by journalists. But because I want to be seen to be completely transparent, let's go to, for example, go to the Khmer Times front page, because they have been, click on the screen, Tim, Khmer, excuse me while I type here, Khmer Times. I'm very happy to read the front page for you. Let's go through. Oh, now it's not saying. This might. I'm being verified as a human. Oh, they've let me through. So let's go. I have no problem reading this out. So this is the Khmer Times. You can see up the top there, Khmer Times, KH.com. Their headlines, Hun Manet, that's the Prime Minister of Cambodia, holds talks with Malaysia, US leaders to push for Cambodia, Thailand ceasefire. GDI recommends 2-point precautionary measures to diplomatic corps for foreign nationals. I've got something to do with immigration. Anaton says Trump urges ceasefire, insists Cambodia started first in border clashes. Have to say these headlines seem to be quite reasonable today. Vietnamese citizens remain safe amid Cambodia-Thailand border tension. Most foreign businesses still open in Poi Phet City as majority of Cambodians flee. Many shops owned by Thai nationals. So they're the main headlines there on the Khmer Times, and you are more than welcome to go and check that. I just read some coverage of the telephone conversations between President Trump and Hun Manet, and they were just rubbish. And I don't want to subject you to things that have been sort of written by a government spokesperson with somebody leaning over their shoulder. So that's I'm not trying to be evasive here. I want to report this as fairly and as fairly as I can. I'm not taking sides at all. But some of the stuff coming out of Cambodia, particularly the Phnom Penh Post for some reason. I've actually been to their building in Phnom Penh in the past, and I met the editor at the time. This is about 10 years ago. It's a very, very different newspaper and publication these days, and a lot of the Cambodian media is being heavily edited, and yeah, just what I read this morning about that telephone conversation was clearly just nonsense and very poorly written. Okay, my vote go for Phuket. Great to catch you live, Tim says. Dwight. So Colin, yeah, I'm not trying to avoid the Cambodian media. I'm very happy to go to their main headlines. If you think there's some good stories, send me a link. I'm very happy to read those out, but I will be casting my bullshit detector over just about anything I'm reading about this Thai-Cambodia border matter. Honest, I vote, yet can we? Honest, I vote, yet can we? I'm sorry, I don't understand. Did you work as a journalist in Australia? Asks Tinks. No, not really. I'm not a journalist. I am perhaps a news commentator. I was a news reader in Australia. I read radio news for about 3 or 4 years with the Austereo company, but I'm not a journalist, and I am trying to sort of look from above at all the stories that are written, try and sift out the salient, important points, bring them to you, provide my perspective when it comes to Thailand. So I might be a news commentator, but I'm not a news journalist, just to clarify. Who chooses the election commission? Oh, it's a fair question, Greg. I don't know an answer to that. They tend to be a stable body. I assume that they're appointed by the government of the time, but I think they're sort of there for a long time, might be 4 or 8 years, and when drops out, somebody new gets appointed to the board. There have been accusations that the Election Commission and the Constitutional Court have had a strong conservative Thai government bent in the past. But I think the Election Commission they've pretty much been down the middle over the past 3 or 4 years in their declarations. I don't think I've detected any obvious bias in the Election Commission. The Constitutional Court is a different matter. They're judges appointed by the government of the time. Again, I think when one drops out, another one is appointed. But there you go. I think that's a fair question. Warren Williams, the election is not the problem. I think we've done that one. Okay. Just jumped. Rahim Majid says, while I know this conflict is horrible for the people at the border, the cynic in me thinks the worst part in this conflict is the return of the pro-Cambodia and pro-Thai bots online. The social media is absolutely chock-a-block full of trolls from both sides. But in fairness, I think we need to say that the trolls from the Cambodian side have been much more obvious and much more trollish. Of course, both sides are contributing to this, but just in my social media feeds, I'm getting a lot of anti-Thai trolls. And it's important to sort of try and understand the perspective of what they're trying to say. These trolls are employed by the Cambodian government, as the trolls writing about pro-Thailand stuff are probably paid by the Thai government. That hasn't sort of been much discussed. I haven't seen any evidence to support that contention. I'm just assuming it. But some of the trolls that are writing on behalf of Cambodia very clearly pushing a government line. And there's some United States lobbyists also being paid by the Cambodian government to provide pro-Cambodia propaganda as well. And we've proven that in the past on this program. So thank you. Love the shirt. In Bangkok, found something tortillas at the villa. I'm very happy now. Corn tortillas. Corn tortillas. Aren't Doritos corn tortillas? No, stop. Don't lecture me about Mexican food. I think I might have got that wrong. They're corn chips, aren't they? Corn. But isn't a tortilla a sort of a large chip thing. Anyway, we'll get on to 28 responses about Mexican food. I checked out the Banyan Tide shirt. It's not bad for $30, but still a bit boring for a loud shirt. Need more designs in the site. I think a Banyan Tide. This is not a Banyan Tide shirt, but the Banyan Tide shirts. There's 5 of them, and they're all designed, made here in Thailand. Very comfortable too. This is the same material. I don't know what this is. It's sort of a hybrid synthetic material. But the best thing about these is they don't store the moisture. It wicks the moisture and they dry very quickly. So great to wear in a humid climate. Grandpa, you tell Thailand to stop invading Cambodia. Okay, thank you very much for your comment. Come on, Cambodia, get the fireworks out. Tim, are you Ben's dad? Ben? No, I don't have any children that I know of. So I'm not Ben's dad, whoever Ben is. As you'll be returning to Australia to work, you are now classed as a foreign resident for tax. As you will be returning, I'm not going back to Australia to work, I'm going back as a guest. I won't be working on the conference. And not a non-tax resident for taxation. Note the foreign resident tax rates. I'm not working there. I certainly won't be paid. So thank you very much, Grunt Max, for jumping on that one. Maybe you thought you're going to... Gotcha! But I'm not working in Australia. I'm going there as a guest. And I'm getting free accommodation and free food. Maybe even free flights. Back to how to sort out the border despite without making clearly the area on each side. This is the point, that at some stage they need to get some cartographers, is that the word? They need to get their theodolites out and they need to buy a bit of satellite time from Elon and actually work out where Cambodia and Thailand are happy to have the border. Now, I think that's a much bigger discussion. But it's not really the core of what's happening at the moment. But it's been pointed to as the reason for the Thai-Cambodia discussions. Now, maybe they'll just have to declare it a demilitarised zone, a shared border. Maybe it's just going to be, 10 or 20 kilometres of shared border area, and they have a committee on each side sort of contributing funds to look after those areas. But there must be 1,000 ways to be able to solve this without starting to point artillery at each other. And that's right. They're trying to negotiate peace agreements without negotiating the actual border, which both sides have said officially that is the cause or what's behind this current conflict. KC in 9PX. Morning, Tim. You're in Thailand and can read the Khmer Times. I'm in Cambodia and all of the Thai news sites are blocked. I understand. So who is transparent and who is being deceptive? Yes, I can read just about any Cambodian media and I'm happy to do so. I'm trying to find out what's going on. As far as who shot the first shots, we've got an election here, and so they drive past with their loudspeakers. All they're doing is they drive past here is telling a few foreigners that don't speak Thai and the soy dogs who they should vote for. Question from Bill G. If the airports for Cambodia and Thailand are still operational, why are the border crossings closed? Well, obviously it's the border crossings where the action is happening, but you can fly from any Cambodian airport, Siem Reap, Phnom Penh, they're the two big ones, and you can fly into and from Thailand's airports. So the Thais and the Cambodians can still cross the border by air, but they just can't cross the borders. So fair question, but that's the situation as we know it. Fighting isn't good for tourism. That's a good point. Anytime you're seeing Thailand or Cambodia in the headlines talking about conflict, talking about the heavy artillery being fired at each other. It's not going to encourage people to put down their hard money for an airline ticket and fly to these areas. In both cases, the main tourist areas of Cambodia and Thailand are not affected at all at the moment, but that's the situation. Would certainly update that if it changed. But it doesn't look good when both countries are having this conflict. Colin, I didn't mean to infer that you were being biased in your commentary. I purely wanted to know what source for the Cambodian side that I can read myself. If you go back a couple of days, Colin, I actually posted about 7 or 8 links, which I thought were good ways of following the latest information about the Thai-Cambodia conflict, including some Khmer, some Cambodian outlets. So I listed those links if you'd like to go and find them. But thank you for asking. JG Expat in news reports Cambodia uses Chinese-sourced weapons, whereas Thailand uses weapons supplied by the West and Israel. Well, no, incorrect. We read out this morning about Russian artillery being used to fire into Thailand yesterday. So some of your... I think both countries use a collection of old weaponry, but Thailand would primarily have both Chinese and US weaponry to fire at any adversaries. Ben Dayhow is who he meant. Ben Dayhow. Don't know what you're talking about. The shirt was made from a surfboard. Sure. If you use a VPN, you can get past most blocks. VPNs have got their own problems too, Steve, by the way, and VPNs can be traced like any other IP. Don't you worry about that. That's funny, the megaphone work on the back of utes. Muay Thai ones in Patong. Tonight, come on down. Yes, they do love their megaphones on the back of these election trucks. They're just like a sort of a truck that would, on a normal day-to-day, sort of carry school kids, and they dress up the sides with posters of the candidates, and they put these massive speakers on the front and the back and just drive around the towns. Now, I would have thought in 2025 that they could probably wind up and target much more accurately with social media and get a much better result for the money. I don't know, but it's just sort of a thing here in Thailand. They love their roadside signs and the trucks driving around the streets, blaring out their various messages. For a while there, says Grunt Max, I thought I'd have to go back and work myself, but thanks to the good PM Anderton, I won't have to. Okay, Grunt Max, thank you for that. More people support Cambodia now, says Raven. Okay, when you say more people, who? Are you talking about Thai people? I would say about 99% of Thais support Thailand. A large proportion of them would be hoping for a quick peace. So when you say more people, Raven, who are those people? Cambodians? Sure. Well, you're talking about the international community? I haven't seen a poll, but I'd be happy to see any evidence you have to back up your claim. It's weird, aren't the 90% same genetic line, says Eastern Green. Yeah, look, it's very easy to wade back through the history of both Thailand and Cambodia, the Khmer Empire, the Lana Empire. They've come and gone. There's been the Burmese. So the area has had a long, mixed history. And where the borders are now are partly to do with what happened during World War II, what happened back in 1907 with the French colonisation of Cambodia. So where the borders are just where they are now. They could move sometime in the future. But I don't think the history of the area, the history of the ethnicities has got anything to do with this current conflict and will have nothing to do with the resolution of the conflict. But they are interesting histories and certainly well worth reading, but I don't think they have anything to do with trying to resolve the situation between the two countries. Tim, the political party from Thailand that won the recent election will likely put more pressure on Cambodia. Is it the Conservative Party or the New Generation Party? Okay, I don't quite understand your question, but just to try and, I suppose, cut through all that. In the forthcoming election, you've really got three main bulks of MPs. You're going to have the People's Party, you're going to have the old Thai Party that used to be run by the Shinawat clan, but their days are at the moment over. And then you've got the Thai Party, which was sort of seen somewhere between the two. Now, at the moment, you've just got a mass defection from the Thai Party. They're sort of battling for relevance, and a lot of them will defect, as MPs can do. They can move from one party allegiance to another. They'll move over to Thai. So as we get closer to the election, it's sort of going to become a Thai versus People's Party election. Will either of them be able to get a majority, 50% of the vote plus one, and then they won't have to consult the Senate or anybody else to form a coalition? They'll have a majority of seats and they can rule in their own right. That's yet to be seen. But this mass defection from the Thai ranks at the moment, I think is going to be the big story as we lead up to the next Thai election. Cambodia just let off a skyrocket firework. It could be heard from 200 metres. Oh no, you're started an hour early. No. I haven't started an hour early. What I've done is I'm doing this daily program at 8 a.m. in the morning. Tomorrow, Steve will join me and we'll talk about the main news stories, but we'll also just get on with our usual banter. So that'll be a different program. Then from Monday, I'll be on at 8 a.m. So we're doing this every day at 8 a.m. live in the short term, whilst we've got so much news to talk about. And it's a conversation. It's not just me yak, although that's how it ends up. But it's a conversation between you and me and the audience that's watching it later. Alan Beesby, the French could have drawn the map on the plains, the bottom of the escarpment instead of the top, then there'd be nothing to fight. So yes, I understand that a lot of the terrain where this border is, there's a high area and a low area, and that's a lot of where the discussion is. But yeah, where the French drew those dotted lines is still causing these problems 100 years later. I don't think that's really their decision to decide exactly where the border is and the current conflict are really always going to be two different things. And I think they'll be able to have some sort of peace in the short term regarding the conflict, and then hopefully they can get together with the engineers and the cartographers and the theodolites and actually decide together where the border is going to be or which areas are going to be shared areas. Maybe some of those temples can be run by committees from both sides. I'm sure that'll go very well. Let's sort of wind up. The French, thank you very much, Alan, for that. American Chinese, they can target anything, even those companies listed in Google Maps. Send in the Gurkhas, says Lucky Leo. A few more comments. Tim, don't you think it's interesting how colonial powers back in the day withdrew from the countries but left with messy decisions regarding border issues, Pakistan and India as well? Yeah, look, that all happened a long time ago. And we are still in many cases cleaning up the messes left by some of the colonial powers. But that's in the past, and we do need to sort of get over that, understand the history, acknowledge it, and then tackle the situations as they are at the moment. But thank you for that. From Gary, that was from Gary. The likes carry over to the reposted video. Plateau is the name for high and low geographical location. Yes, there's a plateau, a high plateau, then there's in Cambodia it goes down. So you can sort of stand along that row of mountains and sort of look down into Cambodia. Been there only once. I wish I could go back there. Now is not the time. Does the Senate still have too much power or too much power with military ties? Well, yes and no. The Senate doesn't have any role anymore over the choosing of the Prime Minister. If there isn't a party that gets 50% of the vote plus one, in the past, the Senate was able to be involved in the selection of a Prime Minister from prime ministerial candidates nominated by the various parties involved in the coalition. So yes, the Senate no longer has that power, and a coalition and an election of a Prime Minister is drawn only from the lower house MPs. So the best thing that could happen for Thailand is for one party to get a majority, 50% of the MPs plus one, but I would imagine that's unlikely to happen, and we will have some sort of coalition after the election, which, as we mentioned earlier, looks like it could be on February the 8th. That hasn't been decided, it hasn't been nailed down, but that is the proposed date as we are today. Are there any more Shinawatras going to come out of the woodwork? I don't think so. I think the Shinawatras' best days are over. Thaksin Shinawat's still in prison. He'll probably get out sometime early next year, maybe just in time for the election. But I suspect that the Shinawatras hold over any power positions. Their best days are in the rear view mirror. But you can't say the Shinawatras are down and out until they are down and out. There doesn't appear to be any other brothers, sisters, sons who have shown any desire to be involved in the rough and tumble of Thai politics. But obviously, if something happens, we'll... Also, I think that if a party put a Shinawatra up as a candidate, I'm just not sure whether they're going to have the pull that the other Shinawatras have in the past. So, yeah, I think the Shinawatras' days in Thailand are pretty much over. You might be issued a ticket for a fashion violation and a warning from the Cultural Appropriation Committee. Well, as I said, there was no indication that this is actually Aboriginal design, even though it sort of does, with the dots and stuff, give the impression that it has got Aboriginal influence. But no, I have no problems with cultural appropriation when I think it's appropriate. Thank you for dropping in today. We'll do this every day at 8. I don't think it's going to be an hour every day, but we hope just to be able to provide some of the main news stories and then have an opportunity for us to have a chat. It's a two-way conversation. Tomorrow, Steve will join me at 8 a.m. Hopefully you can join us as well. Don't forget you can buy me a coffee. There's a link in the description of this video. And what else do I need to say? Oh yeah, click the like button. Subscribe to the channel. And we do look forward to seeing you tomorrow and the ensuing days at 8 a.m, a live program. And we'll keep on doing this in the short term while the news cycle is so busy. Take care and have a wonderful, Saturday. I've got to go and do some gardening. Bye for now.